It is a significant, somber anniversary here in Lubbock. Today marks 55 years since an F5 tornado tore through downtown. The tornado was actually the second one to strike Lubbock the night of May 11th, 1970. It touched down around 9:30 in the evening near 19th and University and moved northeast for 8.5 miles before lifting around the Lubbock Municipal Airport 30 minutes later. The tornado killed 26 people and injured more than 1,500. In all, it caused nearly $200 million in damages. A tribute to the lives lost and a reminder of that tragic day now stands along Avenue Q. That memorial is where the Lubbock County Historical Commission unveiled 2 Texas historical markers today. Those recognize the significance of the tornado and the Fujita scale. That scale was developed from the data and the damage left by that F5 tornado. Lubbock Mayor Mark McBrayer and Lubbock County Judge Curtis Parrish were there for the unveiling, alongside the Historical Commission and the Tornado Memorial Committee chairs. Now, that tornado is ingrained in many people's memories. KCBD News Channel 11's Dylan Villa sits down with a man who survived the devastation as he recounts where he was on May 11th, 1970.
For some, 1970 feels like a lifetime ago. Larry Awayo, however, remembers it like it was yesterday.
I remember gas was cheap, food was cheap. Everything was so different than it is today. You know, they say the good old days, I think them were the good old days.
In 1970, Larry was a junior at Lubbock High. He lived with his mom and dad and says they visited their neighbors just days before to look at their storm cellar. Larry and his family, however, had to bear through the tornado at home.
That night when the tornado hit, we didn't make it out the front door to get to the cellar at the neighbor. The hailstones were so big.
Larry says his family felt the effects for around 15 minutes. Once the tornado passed, they had to deal with the devastation left behind.
There was no lights. Our lights went out, 5 minutes in, when all that started, our lights went out. And I remember it was so dark outside. I had never seen Lubbock that completely dark.
Larry and his family didn't have electricity or water for 3 days after the tornado. His home also sustained roof damage and broken windows. That damage, however, doesn't compare to those who had to pick up the pieces and start over again.
There on the corner, there was a store called, I think it was back then, it was called Piggly Wiggly. And we had some trucks that came in. I don't remember, they came in from San Antonio. Either it was Pearl, Lone Star, or something, one of them beer companies. They had semis come in and people would go up there and get a 6-pack, either cans or bottles or whatever. But they were full of water, not beer.
Larry didn't get to see how the tornado impacted other parts of Lubbock until a few days later, which gave him another perspective into just how bad the storm really was.
I lost some friends, my friends, their mom and dads and stuff like that, and it was devastating. And, like I say, it'll stick with you for the rest of your life.
Something that will also stick with Larry for the rest of his life is the Lubbock Tornado Memorial, remembering the 26 lives lost that day.
The memorial, that brings a lot of memories back, and stuff like that. Like I say, you can't forget it.
As the 55-year anniversary of the tornado looms, Larry is thankful for advancements in technology to warn people of another potential danger. He also hopes the wreckage from 1970 stands alone in history.
That's something that I hope and pray that we never have something like that again in Lubbock.
Dylan Villa, KCBD News Channel 11.
Now, as we just heard, water was sent in beer bottles following that tornado. Texas Radio Hall of Fame member and former councilman Paul R. Bean contacted us this week. He still has one of those bottles. The Pearl Brewery bottled drinking water and delivered glass bottles like the one you see there to the injured, homeless, and hundreds of relief workers.